I think I've never interacted with a man that didn't report that their number one or number two love language was physical touch.
Okay.
And I think that Gary Chapman did a really poor job in the book of separating what you want versus how you experience love.
Okay.
I may enjoy having sex.
Right.
That doesn't mean that that's how I know that my wife loves me. Rob, welcome.
I'm excited to be here.
It's a big day.
This is a really big day.
This is of the first live or in-person Shrink Space episode ever.
It is. And your setup here is like quasi-professional.
Yeah.
It is much better than the office that I commandeer for my wife once a week and like put up my neon sign that no one can see because I'm too close to it.
Yeah.
You actually have a setup here. It looks great. Mm-hmm. So
I'm a classy guy, Rob.
you have your moments. You have your moments.
This is better than once before Rob and I tried to do a podcast in my hotel room, and it would have been us. And we would have called it Between the Sheets. It was going to be in our bed.
Between two sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave he was in town. He was in St. Louis, and so he suggested that we could record in the same room. And I guess neither of us really thought about the logistics of doing so.
Yeah.
And so I get there, and I'm like, it was a small hotel room. Like, where the hell am I supposed to sit other than next to you on this bed?
Yeah. Yeah.
And after some logistics and trying, I think we just decided.
Yeah, that was a good example of you and I being more idea guys.
Yeah. Yeah. In theory, it made sense. We're in the same city. You had equipment.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Mm-hmm. So, but no, I'm excited. I'm also excited because I'd like to start what hopefully could be a new segment for us.
Okay.
And I think we have not done a good job at this in the past. So I'd like to remedy that today by starting to talk about comments we get. Because we get, a number of comments for each episode that we have. Mm-hmm. People either reacting to what we say in agreement, maybe in disagreement, or just saying that they enjoy listening to us. Mm-hmm. And so I was reading some comments and thought we could talk a little bit more about those today before we dive into the kind of main event of our topic.
Okay.
So at first I learned one thing. Someone said that I looked like someone else that they know. And I had never heard of this before, but apparently there is a YouTube guy who goes, maybe you know this person more than I do, who goes through drive-thrus and does job interviews.
Well, it's not just drive-thrus.
Okay.
First of all, I do think he looks like you.
I mean, I think we have pronounced facial features. I think that's the similarity, but yeah.
Rob comes over to my house and he goes, "Did you see this comment? Whenever anybody thinks I look like somebody, it's just someone with a big nose."
Yeah, it's like if you look at the profile here, it's anyone who has a large nose like myself. Yeah.
He's always doing job interviews, but it's not just in drive-thrus, it's different things.
I mean, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing it in this one that I saw that someone posted. He was doing a job interview at a fast food drive-through
while ordering.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
It was hilarious. So I learned that about myself. One of the other things that I think we probably could have been a bit more nuanced on was talking about how any personality characteristic that we have does not exist in isolation. So we talked a lot about extroversion and introversion last week. And I think you mentioned how, in general, introverts tend to be a bit more emotionally aware because they're more likely to observe their environment.
Yes.
While extroverts are less likely to be emotionally aware because they're more kind of active in their environment.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And I think broadly, if we were looking at that trait in isolation, yes, that's true. But I think obviously we're all made up of a number of different personality characteristics. And what we probably didn't talk as much about was that can be true, but there are also introverts who maybe aren't as sensitive to the emotions around them, and extroverts who are because of other characteristics.
Right.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I was just trying to think about it from the lens of what you were started talking about it, and I was thinking, was the comment from someone who was extroverted saying, "Wait, I am good at what are you talking about? Well, I do perceive the emotions of others."
Yeah, I'll pull one of them up, but I mean, essentially, there are a few comments there like, yes, this tracks. I always seem to me to like, this tracks. It's always seemed to me like introverts understand extroverts far better than the other way around. Mm-hmm. And again, I don't know the stats necessarily off the top of my head, but that could more likely be true than not. Mm-hmm. I certainly have interacted with people who are very loud.
Yeah.
And maybe lack some sort of awareness.
Yes.
But I also interact with people, and maybe it's just the bubble that we live in, because I know you and a lot of people that we work with are fairly extroverted. Yeah. But are also, we're psychologists.
Right. Right.
And so we're pretty emotionally aware individuals. So maybe that's it, actually. Now that I think about it, is maybe that's what I'm more reacting to.
Well, I think it's exactly what you said. If you just look at the trait in isolation, extroversion versus introversion, I think that stands.
Yeah.
But your level of conscientiousness, your level of compassion, your level of empathy, like all of those things are separate variables that certainly influence the extent to which you burn calories trying to figure others out. But for me, it's the reason why I always talk about introvert versus extrovert that way is I do think there is in our culture this push towards extroversion. Yeah. And I do think that there are disadvantages to like just that trait on its own, and there are advantages to introversion on its own. And we don't talk equally about those things.
Yes, I flew to Denver this morning. Yeah. So it was me and my whole family came to Denver today, and I was on a plane next to I think two people who exemplify this very well: extroverts who are lacking any sort of kind of awareness of their environment, because they were loud. They did not stop talking. There were kids screaming around them because there happened to be a bunch of families on this flight, and they just kept talking like as if nothing was going on around them. It annoyed me that they wouldn't just shut up. I don't know why it annoyed me so much.
I'm going to steal that, Rob. That is the best like caricature of like a pure extrovert.
Yeah.
If you're talking on your phone so loud that everybody can hear, or you're having conversations so loud that everybody can hear, and you're so into that conversation and you don't clock that there are people around that you're bothering, that's the extreme of what I was talking about.
Yes.
Like do not give a shit what the impact is.
But that can't just be extroversion. That's just a lack of any sort of awareness, or maybe a lack of caring of any sort of awareness.
But you could never be. What about, could you ever be an introvert and comfortably be on a plane and be loud talking like that? You have to, you must be an extrovert to do that, right?
Yeah, probably. At least to do it for a longer period of time.
Because an introvert would be like, oh my God, I am taking up way too much space.
You're right. So anyway, it did just happen to me.
Yeah.
And airplanes in particular, because you can't go anywhere.
Yeah. Excuse me, sir. You are extroversion unhinged right now.
You're extroverting all over me right now, and I can't handle it. I think about, I sound like an old man now, but it's like when people talk on their phone on speaker like this in public.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
I can't. Same.
I'm like, there are people around you.
Yeah.
Putting earbuds. Remember how phones work like this? Like, make it work like that.
Make it work like that.
Anyway, so that was one of the things that I wanted to comment on there. So
I think it's a good idea when we do. I think that we should always look at the comments and have at least one response to it.
Yeah.
Because I can imagine, actually now that I think about it, I was trying to think like, well, are there comments that bother me? I have one.
No. Yeah. I can imagine a couple of comments bother you. Yeah, go ahead.
What was the one you and I talked about? There was one that the person was like, could you be more bald or something like that? What was the comment?
Oh God, that was what I was thinking. All I remember was reading it, laughing out loud back home, and then screenshotting it and texting it to you.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks. I'm glad that you added substantively to our conversation. Jesus Christ, could you be any bolder?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was my favorite.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. We should have reacted to that in the moment as well. So anyway, let's get down to the main event. So as people who listen to us or watch us know, I am a frequent visitor of Reddit. And we've done an episode before on Am I the Asshole? It's one of my favorite subreddits to dive deep into. I think it's just funny to see what people end up posting on there and then why people respond the way that they do. I recently encountered a subreddit on Am I the Asshole, a question about the 5 love languages. And so the 5 love languages, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but it's based on a book written by a gentleman like in the early to mid 90s.
Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman, thank you. And he had a background. I think he was a pastor. He was also a marriage and family therapist.
I think I don't know. Pastor sounds familiar. I do not know, actually.
Yeah, I think so. I ended up looking him up a little bit more to understand. Anyway, and so there was someone, and we're going to talk about the love languages here in a little bit, so I'm going to read this. There was someone who asked, am I the asshole for asking my husband to love me in my love language? And like, long story short, I asked my husband to love me in my love language, and he refuses because he finds it dumb and accuses me of trying to change him. So, if you read through this one, essentially what it says is her love language is words of affirmation. This person has gone through, a lot of transformation in her life over the past year or two, and feels like she wants to be acknowledged. And her husband finds acknowledging this from her perspective to be silly. Why do you need to be acknowledged in this way? I'll acknowledge you maybe through other ways, through other love languages, but I'm not going to give you words of affirmation.
Yeah.
She finds that to be not assholery.
I'd like to guess that his love language is physical touch.
I don't. It doesn't say in here what his love language is. I don't think that they talk about it in here.
So should we say what we think about whether or not she's the asshole, or should we bury the lead and talk about 5 love languages?
Well, I'd like to talk about what they are first, and then I want to use this story to talk a little bit more about it. But why don't we introduce what love languages are first? Okay. So why don't you start? There are 5 love languages.
There's 5 love. The idea is that when you interact with people, we all have a different way of showing affection.
Right.
And Gary Chapman came up with 5 ways in which you show love. One is the one that men seem to drift towards, which is physical touch.
Physical touch, yep.
There's acts of service. There's quality time. There's receiving gifts. There's...
I think I should quiz you right now because I have them in front of me. Go ahead. What's the last one?
Hold on. Let me just try. Acts of service, physical touch, quality time, receiving gifts, and...
The one we were just talking about.
Physical touch?
No. The Am I the Asshole example. Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. Okay. All right, let me try one more time. Let me try it one more time. Make sure I get them all. Yeah. Acts of service.
Yes.
Physical touch.
Yes.
Receiving gifts. Quality time. Words of affirmation.
There you go. You got it. You got it.
Boom.
You got it.
Okay. So we all have these different ways of showing affection.
According to Gary Chapman.
According to Gary Chapman. And the book is really about, in a relationship, I should be aware of what my partner's love language is, and I should give them love and affection in that way. So if I know that my wife, and by the way, she does, really likes acts of service, then instead of me telling her, hey, I love you, word of affirmation, I should go and do the dishes. Right. I should demonstrate the love in the way that she receives love. That's like the high level principle of it.
Right. Now, David, you're known for your more kind of measured, kind of nuanced understanding of concepts like this. And so I'm sure you have a pretty nuanced, measured reaction to love languages.
Yeah. I think it's a disaster.
It's a disaster. There was also, I went down a rabbit hole on Reddit too about, I just searched for love languages and like the first 10 topics I found, like 8 of them were why love languages are shitty or terrible or whatever it is. A lot of people seem to not like love language. Wait, so you're not the only one.
What does the average person not like about love language? Did you get a sense of what the pushback was?
Well, I think it is, and it reminded me of the conversation you and I had a couple weeks or months ago about the Myers-Briggs.
Yeah.
And so I was going to bring this up later, but my thought is it is a good maybe initial framework for a couple to have to better help them describe what they're looking for in a relationship. But it is not comprehensive by any stretch of the imagination, and it can change over time depending upon your relationship. And I think knowing you, I bet this is what you're going to react negatively to is it can sometimes be used as maybe as this person in Reddit in the "Am I the asshole?" question, like you need to accommodate me.
Yes,
like, this is what I need, and you need to do this thing.
Yes,
and sometimes it can come across as a bit you change for me. So those would be, I would say, globally the top 3 critiques.
Yeah, I think I agree with all those critiques. Yeah. But yes. So my chief concern, which we'll talk more about, is that I do feel like it sort of breeds narcissism at some level. And that's an extreme way of saying it, but there's an inherent narcissism in it.
Why?
Because
that's the only one I don't quite get.
Let's come back to it. Let's first say why it's good. Okay. I think there is value in the love languages. The reason why I think it's good is for a lot of people in relationships, they've never thought about what their partner needs.
Right.
So it's like, I think that it's easy if you're in the world of psychology, then you're probably thinking about this stuff more than the typical person would.
Right.
And so the standard marriage, people are like, what are you talking about? Right. Who cares? I said I love you, or I did this. Of course, that's showing love. And so to slow people down and say, here's different ways in which people receive or clock love. Yeah, I think is really important.
Yep,
agreed. That's a fair, and it's like the Myers-Briggs. It is very digestible.
Yep, it's an easy framework.
Yeah, super easy framework.
I agree. I think that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
is it's a good intro for couples just to have conversations about what they're looking for. Because I might do things that, my wife, Jen, I might do them because I think it's something she's looking for.
Yeah.
And maybe it's fine, but it's not going to, improve our relationship in any way. But I don't know that.
Yeah. Right.
So I think it can be helpful.
Yeah.
To start that way.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that's the first complaint I have. Or that's the good part. I'm like already
going straight. Yeah, you can't wait to talk about the complaints. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Now the more interesting part of the conversation is, here's my problem with it. Problem number 1 is I think I've never interacted with a man that didn't report that their number 1 or number 2 love language was physical touch.
Okay.
And I think that Gary Chapman did a really poor job in the book of separating what you want versus how you experience love. Okay. I may enjoy having sex.
Right.
That doesn't mean that that's how I know that my wife loves me.
Correct.
And I could use a book like this to be like, hey, babe, I did the dishes and I did an act of service and I'd like you to give me another kind of service. Right. There's a mentality around that, which I think can be confusing or manipulated to serve the interest of whoever's interpreting it. There's a lot of men that say, I've been as a therapist in the room where a man says, look, this is how I experience love.
Right.
Take your top off.
Right.
And I think that's a problem.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right.
Is that the only one where is physical touch the only love language where that's the case?
No, I think it also happens on the other side with acts of service.
Okay.
I think it's very easy for someone who is overwhelmed to be like, hey, the way I know you love me is if you mow the lawn or do the dishes and it's like, no, you would like me to mow the lawn and do the dishes.
Yeah.
But that's distinct from whether or not you know I love you.
Yep.
And so it's like this, you look at the book and it's a little bit, it's so on the nose about what it's describing that it's very easy to be like, oh, this is my thing. And it's really about, well, right now it's what you need, what you want, but it's not maybe really how you perceive love.
Well, and I think that's it, is going back to the other critique that I found, which is, it may be a necessary but not sufficient way for a relationship to be strong.
Yeah.
Is by solely focusing on these things.
Yes.
Because, there are other characteristics of a relationship that are important for it to stay afloat outside of these 5 love languages.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I think, again, it's a great place to start.
Mm-hmm.
But if it ends there, then it's not
sufficient. Yeah.
So I think that was my big critique of it as well. I also wondered, especially given the conversation we've had over the past couple of weeks about different personality characteristics, like there's some connection there, I think, between like who you are as a person and what you're looking for.
That's interesting.
I wonder, I don't know this to be true. And I think that's the other critique is, this is not like an empirically validated framework.
Right.
This is something that, from my understanding, Gary just came up with through his time as a therapist.
Yeah.
And I think any empirical research to validate this has been inconclusive at best.
Oh, I did not know that. And I believe it. And that's interesting.
Right. So there's not a strong conclusion that these are critical components of successful relationships, like these love languages. But I wonder a little bit more about personality characteristics. Like if I'm talking about introverts and extroverts, like I wonder if, there is like a word of affirmation for an introvert who may not get, a lot of that in general. Like we talked about introverts before.
Yeah.
Like I know when I've worked with them in a professional setting, oftentimes we'll talk about, hey, you have a strong need for recognition, but I wonder, do you get it? Because you're less likely to ask for it.
Right.
So maybe words of affirmation would be more important for an introvert than it might be for an extrovert who is more comfortable asking for what they want in that area. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. There should be research on that. That's an interesting dynamic. I think you're absolutely right.
Right.
That would definitely influence it.
Right. And then we talked about male female differences. Like, there's likely just to be because of, male female differences around, physical and sex stuff, that men would have that as a love language more than women would. Yeah. Especially over time. So I think he is probably getting at something that is deeper than just these love languages.
Yeah.
I was going to ask what your other critique.
The other critique is that if you read the book, I think it only points one direction, meaning you look at the book, you identify what your love language is, and then the mentality is, this is how people have to show love to you. Yeah. So I should tell my wife that the way in which I feel love is physical touch. And if she doesn't do physical touch to me, then according to the book, then I am not going to perceive that there's any affection. Right. So it's on Allison to identify my love language and adjust her style to show me love, and vice versa.
Right.
What the book doesn't teach you to do is to recognize what the love language is in somebody else and recognize or clock when they are showing you love.
Right.
So for example, it would be good for me to know that Allison's love language is acts of service or whatever. And so when she does something for me, I should recognize, oh, she's showing me love. Right. Like I feel like this book, it just kept in isolation leads to questions like the person in the Reddit, which is, this asshole won't do exactly what I want him to do, which is the only way in which I'm going to feel love.
Yeah. But can it be both?
Yeah. I think it should be both.
I think that's it.
Yes.
Is, maybe, in this scenario on, in Reddit, that guy kind of seems like an asshole, like especially if his wife is asking for this.
I will say my first thought when I heard it was, it feels like words of affirmation is a much easier one to deliver on than other. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like things are equal.
I don't have to cut the grass then.
Right.
Yeah. I have to write you a note.
Just don't be mean to her and she's happy.
Right.
Yes.
So I agree with what you're saying. And I think this kind of goes back to maybe just a philosophical orientation that I have. And I think you share too, but you chime in here, which is, like how much do you accommodate other people and the world around you versus how much do other people and does the world around you accommodate you? And I know that sometimes I struggle when I feel like the individuals that I'm working with or interacting with have this orientation that the world should adjust and accommodate to them, or the people around them should do that more than they're willing to then reciprocate.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's what I feel sometimes when I hear this type of conversation.
Yes. I 100% agree with you. And that's kind of what we talked about last time when we were talking about the Myers-Briggs, or I've seen it with StrengthsFinder or whatever. You and I think talked about going, being consultants and going into businesses, and they've got their Myers-Briggs type on their desk.
Right.
And it's like, if you're going to come in here, you better talk in my way.
Right.
Like that's this attitude around it, which is bend to my characteristics.
Right.
Which I find really problematic.
Right. Yeah. And I think that some people do it not because of that. They just, it's helpful to know, which is, I think, how those tools and this tool can be helpful, but it's more when it then leans into that extra, hey, this is who I am, and so you need to accommodate me.
Right.
That I think is not likely to be successful in any type of relationship, work relationship, romantic relationship, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I totally agree with you on this. It's one of the things when I used to work as a family therapist with couples, I would always tell them that in order for the relationship to work, you should be prioritizing the relationship over you as individuals. Yes, you each need to actualize in all those things, but you shouldn't be in a relationship because you think, whatever, I'm my best, like this thing people always say, I'm my best person when I'm with you or whatever. And it's like, so you're only here as long as this person makes you better, makes you feel better versus saying the thing I care most about is this entity, which is us as a couple. And then me secondarily. And sometimes I feel like these books or this sort of orientation towards my type is elevating the individual over the relationship.
Agreed. The other thing I'm wondering, this is maybe a slight deviation from talking just about this, but there seems to be an assumption when we talk about love languages or kind of what you need from a partner that your partner needs to provide you with everything you need in a relationship all the time. And I started thinking more about this because do you ever listen to Hidden Brain podcast?
I know it.
Okay.
Not regularly.
It's one of my favorites. And they are currently rerunning a series they did a long time ago about relationships and romantic love. And they talked to a couple of researchers who have researched just the history of marriage and relationships and talk about how we now live in a time where the expectations of our immediate partner have never been higher. If you go back, 150 years ago, marriage was not necessary. I mean, love may have been a component of marriage, but it was never the primary reason you got married. It was, safety.
Yeah.
Especially, for women, it provided them with some sort of, livelihood because most women weren't able to work, outside of the home. It was for families to come together. Right? There's a lot of different reasons why people got married. And it was only maybe in the past 100, 125 years where a romantic love became a more primary part of marriage. And now I would say, if you were to survey people on the street and say, why should people get married? I would be surprised if the number one response wasn't something about because you love them, they're your soulmate,
right?
Something like that,
right?
And that's something that I think I even subscribe to. It's like, if I didn't think that Jen was my person across a variety of different characteristics, that were criteria, then I don't think I would have married her. But that's different if you look historically.
Well, it's interesting because I was aware of, like, people have never wanted more from their work than they do now, right? Like in the 50s, you just wanted a job that was stable and that was it. Like it wasn't a thing. And now, I think the last I looked at the numbers, it was like the average person, like the average Gen Z will have something like 17 different jobs because they will bounce from different job, dissatisfied with this job, want to elevate faster, want different relationships, want to find, right?
Like looking for meaning or like what's...
Yeah, well, that's the difference is, so like back in the 40s or 50s, you wanted stability. And then it was like, I'm going to get this wrong, but, high level, you wanted just stability. And then, 20 years later, you wanted stability, but you also wanted a good salary. And then 20 years later, you wanted stability, you wanted a good salary, and you also wanted a healthy culture. And then 20 years later, now you're wanting stability, a good salary, a healthy culture, and you want to find meaning and purpose at your work.
Right, your values and how they
all of those things. And now, because of social media, you have the ability to compare. All of a sudden, you have more options. It's not like you have just the factory in your town. You have the world. You can work remotely, and so there's competition. And that makes sense to me, like intuitively, when you think about occupation. But it also makes sense when you think about people.
Right.
I can go on to whatever, Plenty of Fish or whatever they're called, and find there's other people in the sea. And so maybe that's part of this evolution where now people are like, do you meet my needs in all of these areas?
Well, I hadn't even thought about just the way, like online dating. As in, but because it's so easy just to, check a box this person meet this need or not? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've never met them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt because I'm only interacting with them in this very sterile way.
Yeah.
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 But that's true. I had not connected that to, work, but you're right. Mm-hmm. So I think just in general, our expectations across a variety of different parts of our lives have increased.
Yep.
I thought about it more and I noticed this, certainly during COVID, and maybe even it's still a little bit more now, but yeah, my expectations, especially again, I'm a strong extrovert. My wife is not. And we had to have a lot of conversations about that. Like, I know you can't do anything, but your social needs, like, I can't just be the only person you're getting this need met.
Yeah.
And so even though it's difficult now, we need to, you need to find some other ways to do that. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Rob, go outside.
Yeah. Like, get out of here for a little bit. So I thought that was interesting. And then tying it back to the love languages is, well, maybe you get, one or two of these met with your significant other, your partner.
Yep.
But maybe you get others met through friends or other family members that you're close with. But I don't think that people have that orientation as much, at least according to people who study this, as much as they used to.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the Reddit. So I don't think we tie the knot on this. So who's the asshole in that situation?
I think they're both assholes.
Okay. I don't think that's an option. You either say, yes, you're the asshole, or no, you're not the asshole. You don't get to.
I think that she is not the asshole. If I had to guess, just here's why I think she's not the asshole.
Okay.
If she is asking for something as simple as words of affirmation, and she's articulated it clearly enough for him to say back to her, "Don't try and change me. I'm not going to give you words of affirmation." And then she's agitated enough to wonder whether or not that's a reasonable request, and then posts it on Reddit. It's like this woman is burning a lot of emotional energy.
Yes.
Trying to figure this out. So my guess is he's a significant asshole. I disagree with her orientation. Like, you have to give me love in a certain way. And, come on, buddy. That's my take. What do you think?
I think the same. I read through, more of the description ahead of this podcast. And what I didn't read is that she mentions something like her husband can be pretty sarcastic. So I think I'm over-identifying with the husband a little bit more because I think we probably share a common.
I think he's a great guy.
I think we share a common way to connect with people, which is sarcasm.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I I can be sarcastic with my wife, and if she's asking me to do something, and I just say, "Well, that's stupid. I'm not going to do it," then I don't know how you say that's anything but asshole behavior.
Well, now that you said it that way, now I'm wondering, is she asking for some kind of is he trying to say good job, but he's just too, how sensitive is she?
Yeah.
That's an interesting,
I think I don't think we're ever going to know that.
Do you ever hold on, in your personal life, do you ever get feedback where she's like, can you knock off, I would like you just to be
on a weekly basis.
Stop being so.
Yes. I think I get that from most people who I interact with routinely is, all right, they've had enough.
Yeah, I've hit my threshold.
Yeah, I get that for my wife. I will get the eye roll. My oldest, she's 8 years old, and eye rolls have started now when I just I'll make stuff up. Like, we're in Colorado, we're going to go hiking. And I told them on the airplane, we're like, oh yeah, we're going to go sleep on the side of a mountain today.
Yeah, yeah.
And she just does that and just looks away.
Classic dad.
Yeah. So they don't take anything that I say seriously. But yeah, I get that. But so I think I wanted to close this conversation by asking, all right, what is your love language? If we had to use this framework,
okay,
what is Allison's love language, and how? And I'll share mine and Jen's as well. And how did you two figure this out?
Okay,
so just understanding that it's an incomplete framework.
Yes, mine is definitely words of affirmation.
Okay,
I'm comfortable with physical touch if she can't do the words of affirmation.
Right.
But no, mine is definitely words of affirmation, and hers is definitely acts of service.
Yeah.
And how did we figure that out? I mean, we've read the book. Both of us have read the book and talked about the book. I mean, she always makes fun of me, and I'm trying to think if maybe you make fun of me also. but she believes that I walk through the world with an applause in the back of my mind. Like she thinks that.
I mean, I can see that.
And she thinks that like if that I always need to have an applause, and that I can self-generate it, and that I also like her to generate. So like I think she's given me that feedback before.
Yeah.
And how do I know? I mean, have you seen the memes where it's like, the guys are doing all these things trying to sleep with their wives, and the wives are like, I just want the dishes done. Like, I just want the yard taken care of. But that's
get it.
That's been sent to me many times on Instagram. Allison wants acts of service, no question.
Yeah.
What about for you guys?
I think for me, my number one would be quality time. So I enjoy, but usually with some sort of activity. Like I enjoy just playing cards. Like, we'll play cards, especially we did this a lot during COVID because we couldn't do stuff. And it was just like an activity to do, but it was also an excuse for us just to talk. Or, like play stupid games, or, we play the New York Times games and stuff most nights. Yeah. And so it's just hanging out. And then there will be times when, again, because she's more introverted, she'll get stressed out by the day and just say, hey, I'm calling it a day early. I'm going to go sleep in like the spare bedroom.
Yeah.
And I will, joke with her a little bit, but sometimes it's like, well, I just like her around.
Yeah.
Like I like just her presence.
Yeah. Yes.
And so that's probably my number one.
Yeah.
And for her, it is words of affirmation. 100%. Like I think you could give me a card, like a birthday card.
Yeah.
And I would say, oh, that's nice. And then I'll throw it in the recycling bin.
Yeah.
I don't place a lot of value on those types of things. Like, it's a nice acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I would appreciate a text or something like that for something just as much.
The same. Interesting. Yeah.
But Jen likes that more. And so throughout the course of our relationship, I've had to understand, hey, it's not important to me, but it is important to her.
Yeah.
But I do it in like a funny way. Like, she'll get like a funny card. For me.
You can't go all the way.
No. I mean, she's not getting like a sappy Hallmark card with roses and like, angels on the front of it.
Yeah.
But she'll get stuff like, she'll get like Taylor Swift card or something that we're both kind of into at the time, or at least she's into at the time.
Yeah.
She'll get a card that's like that, and then I'll write a funny message in. But I would say at least that's the one that I would describe as something that's really important, and probably something that if I wasn't prompted, I wouldn't do.
So here's the question, based on going back to like the pieces of it that we don't love. Does Jen read I know that you plan a lot. Like, so you're in Denver right now. I am certain that you have thought about what you're going to do. You've
100%.
planned the whole trip. Does she perceive that as you showing love to her and the family?
Yes, she appreciates it a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd like to say that I do it, selflessly, but I do it because I want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't do it. I mean, it's a nice,
so
secondary reason.
So you don't think it's you showing love to them?
I would say not primarily.
Oh, interesting.
No, I do it because I want to make sure. I guess sometimes I want to make sure we have a good time. But I also want to make sure that I have a good time.
Yeah, yeah.
And just honestly, and so but I think it's helpful, and I think that she enjoys it less. She still likes doing this type of like planning and stuff. And if she's doing something that I'm not, she'll do it. But yeah, I would say that, she understands that that's probably just something I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy doing things like we went on vacation. We went to Japan back in May.
Yep.
And I did a lot of research there, but we did things that I think that she really enjoyed as well. And I do enjoy helping her have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something I said just occurred to me. We were talking about personality characteristics. And I said that, quality time was important.
Yeah.
Strong extrovert.
Yeah.
Quality time.
Yep. Yes.
That would be another thing. Is I just like to be around people.
Yes. Yes.
So that's really important to me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I agree. And I'm saying quality time is important, but I think you're more extroverted than I am.
Yeah. Well, at least as it really comes to like being around people is more important to me than it is to you, I think.
Yeah. I think so. Good. That's interesting.
Yeah. That's all I got for you, man.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for, hopefully this recording goes well and the audio is good and hopefully this goes out.
Yeah. I did feel a little, again, this is quite the setup. At some point I'm going to have a setup that's similar to this at my house,
Yeah.
I am very jealous, and I know that you'll appreciate that. I didn't want to say that at first, but now I'm
Makes me
gonna say
very
it.
happy.
I know it does.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks. Let us know what you think in comments. If you have a good comment, we will potentially talk about it in the next episode.
Definitely. All right, everyone. See ya.